Robin Campbell, before we talk about the first London Marathon on March the 29th, 1981, firstly, why did you start running and when?
Jesus. I started when I was at primary school, and in my mind I would race against star athletes of the day or previous eras. Never lost a race. I learned to lose them later on, but as a primary school kid I could face the world and beat the world.
And when did you get the notion or the reality that I'm not bad at this?
I guess partly at secondary school, where I got the school records and did reasonably well in school events, and then having to do national service, RAF, and I started to win RAF titles, and I thought, oh, she's working out nicely.
And if you go back and you had to choose one title that you won, you thought that was my pinnacle, what would it be?
Oh boy. I think it might be the Essex 10K. 6 miles it was at that time, wasn't it?
So you mentioned 6 miles, but getting under 50 minutes at 10 miles, that was a bit of a journey, wasn't it, physically?
Yeah, that was a toughie. It's a good race, 10 miles on the road. But also another one for me would have been 1963 September 3-mile track event at a Southend-on-Sea event, and it was Buddy Edlund, a American runner. Kipper Herring was running, and I beat a lot of them, and I out-sprinted them, 13:49. And I made a mistake at the following day when I said, wow, I'm really going to run the marathon next year. I should have said I'm going to do the 5K.
Because you were doing 13:49 for 5,000 metres or 3 miles?
3 miles.
3 miles, yeah, there was a difference at point one.
On a scrubby old track. I'm sorry, Southend, but at that time it was a scrubby old track. It was ribbed and rutted, but I outkicked Buddy Edlund, I outkicked... Kipper went in the 5K to the Olympics. Buddy Edlund represented America, of course, in the marathon. And there was one other there who also did well, I don't know who it was, can't recall.
I mean, this interview is about you, but were there anybody you ran with you thought, God, that was a great athlete I had the privilege of running with?
Well, Ian Thompson.
Ian probably
was good.
You knew.
I loved it with Ian as well, because we were building up our numbers slightly as the word got round as to where we were. So on this particular day, we got into Hatfield Park with an agreement with the owners, and one of the group, I better not say who it was, one of the group started to push because they were going to beat Ian Thompson. And Ian looked across at me and said, well, I've heard it, Robin. I said, I'm not doing it, Ian. It's too near to the weekend. Going to race at the weekend. I don't need to race today. So I said, no, let's not race today. And so we just let this other athlete go. And that was fine with Ian as well. He didn't mind getting beaten in something which, who cares? Did I drift off the question?
You did. Racing ahead. So was London Marathon your first marathon?
Was it really? No, of course it wasn't.
Of course not.
It was my 2 hours, 20 minutes, 20 second run.
2:20:20.
And where did you do 2020?
Yorkshire, Beverley. It was the Northern Championships. And I went up to do it because I wanted to get a decent time in as a statement of intent for the Olympic trial. So yeah, that's when I did 2:20, second in the race to a little guy called Ron Hill. He was a good one. It's a good one, but he got dementia, unfortunately.
Yeah. What year was that?
Was it 63 or 64? It was 64.
No, not 64.
Yeah, because it was in the Easter, around the Easter time, with
the
the Olympics. So you have to do the Olympic trials and then the Olympic. You're going to do 3 marathons the way we did it.
Yeah.
So were you in any Olympic trials?
Yeah, went to the Olympic trials. Coventry, coming down now, only Midlands rather than. Should have done what some of the other runners did. Bill Adcox, who did a 2:10 eventually. Jim Alder and Morpeth, who won the Commonwealth in '66, I think. A couple of the really good Scottish runners of the time, Alistair Wood, and another one whose name escapes me. I beat them all, and I was third with Brian Kilby, the winner. But it was a stinking hot day. It wasn't hot. I mean, it was awful. And all these guys who were dropping out were the sensible ones. I kept going and I got third place. You want to do that, really? It's down there, love. The third place.
And did so you got third place, but not through to the Olympics?
No, didn't go there. Third place in the Olympic trial in the Olympic year, and you're not being picked.
Why not?
Well, because we were good at marathon running as a nation.
There were too many of them.
So who are we going to kick out? Brian Hill was going. Ron Hill's already booked a place. I can't beat Ron, in all honesty.
Yeah, that's...
Brian Kilby, no, not Brian Kilby. Basil Heatley had already booked a place. They'd done Windsor to Chiswick, and they did it on the right day. It was cool, and as Windsor to Chiswick can be, they had the wind behind them from Windsor to Chiswick. They did lovely fast times, but I wasn't there because I was the intelligent one who was going to do the Olympic trial race. Anyway, so that was why I did well, but didn't get picked.
So you more or less did the London Marathon as it was just a marathon. You're a veteran.
Yeah.
Good to be in it.
Yep.
Any memories of it?
No, the memories. I did catch glimpses of the two runners, Simonsen and that was the Norwegian, wasn't it, Simonsen? And the American one whose name escapes me at the moment.
Dick Beardsley.
Sorry?
Dick Beardsley.
Right. Beardsley was good when he went back to the States. He had a lot of success. Simonsen, not so, I think, when he went back to Norway.
So in many ways for you, it was just another race.
Yeah, it was a marathon. It looked novel and interesting and different, and so we'll go and do it. Yeah.
Was it nice running through the streets of London? Was that novel?
Yeah, the whole thing about it was interestingly different. But I wasn't captivated in the way that some people seem to have been. I could do without the razzmatazz. I could do without the struggle of trying to get to the event. How do you go by train? How do you go by bus or coach or what? Or does Ruby drive me as close to the start as she can, drop me off, and then get out of it before she gets done?
So do you look at? Let's move ahead to 2021, or rather this decade. Do you look at the mass participation of running? You know, whether it's London Marathon with 40,000 people. The local park run, before it stopped, Harlow was having close to 400.
Yeah.
Or even this morning, seeing people out running.
Yeah.
And do you celebrate that?
I certainly celebrate in the sense that I go for a run every day. That's every day. That's not a cliche or whatever it is. Every day I go running. Ruby's the same now.
Oh, it's
And we go out first thing of the morning. There's no one around except some idiot runners like us. And yeah.
Has anybody ever asked you why you go running? And if they do, what is your answer?
The answer is simple. It's yes. At the university, someone said to me once, "Robin, I've heard that you run every morning." I said, "Yeah, I do." "But not on the mornings you come to work, do you?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I run every morning." "Oh, do you have to get up early?" I said, "Well, you get up whatever time you need. If you want to run 10 miles and it's going to take you 80 minutes, then that's 80 minutes down the drain. How much time do you need for grab a bite to eat?" And I said, "Let me ask you a question, because I don't know the answer to this question. How do you come to work if you haven't run already during the day? I don't know how you would have a brain capable of working if you hadn't run. It opens up the mind. I don't know how that is psychologically, physiologically, or it's just imagination, but for me..."
Is your competitive streak still in there? You know, when you're doing the Harlow park run, and you're going around that little loop for the third time, you're still thinking, I'm going to kick any minute.
Yeah, and I meet up, because we've travelled around a bit doing park runs.
Oh, travelled around the country, come on.
Well, Inverness is as far as we've ever gone northwards. I don't know, there is another one.
I don't think you mean
What was the
that.
question again?
I mean, when you're doing the park run,
Yes.
are you still competitive?
Yeah. The M80 Plus, which is the group I'm in now, we're nutters. Every single one is a nutter. Don't accept any other possibility. And if he's a yard ahead of me with a quarter of a mile to go, and then we just are very competitive people.
Are you born? Do you think you're born competitive? Have you always had a competitive instinct?
I think it develops. Yeah, it does develop, because as you get good performances coming in, it makes you competitive. Think, I like that. Wow. When's the next one I can do?
What? We've drifted off the London Marathon, but I want to talk. Running is not necessarily a fad at the moment. You've seen them come and go, haven't you? Probably after 1981, you went from 8,000 people running a marathon to 20 plus. And then it went, didn't it? And sometimes you see people running and you think, how do they make sure they're in it for the long game? What was your advice to somebody if you want to be in running for the long game and not just for a couple of years when you become obsessed with your times?
I don't see that as a problem. I think if you run each day for a period of time, I don't know what that is, whether it's a month or 3 months or a year, you literally get hooked. And I don't know how you get off that. I sometimes say, should I still be doing this? Am I a nutter? Leave that for other people to answer, I think.
And what's probably been the favourite place, whether it's in United Kingdom or around the world, you think, I ran there, that's a really nice place to run?
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere really.
Just treasure everywhere, don't
Chicago for me was an interesting marathon that I did. I did it in whatever year I did it. I used to remember it. Anyway, it was won by a Brit, Paul Davis-Hale. He did 2:10 on a day when no one should be allowed to run under 2:30. It was stinking hot, absolutely scorcher, and humid with it. They were dropping out left, right and centre. Of course, me has to go on, so I did. And I don't know if you'll recall, but I said that when I did the Olympic trial in '64, I was second to Ron Hill, and I ran 2:20. Quite like that. 2:20. How about that? Beautiful, isn't it? Anyway, so I finished Chicago, and I was not feeling good. I was about 54 at the time. I hadn't even gone under 3 hours. I mean, that was sacrilege for starters. You've got to run under 3 hours, for God's sake. Anyway, I didn't run under 3 hours. Well, guess what I did? I did 3:03:03. And when I got home, Ruby said, well, what do you reckon? I said, I've run my last marathon. She said, why have you run your last marathon? I said, because I love it. 2:20:20, 3:03:03. You can't match it. That's my encompasses everything I've ever done with marathons, and will stay there. I am tempted to try for 4:04:04, but I bet they so and so would give me 4:04:05. Then what do I do? So I've done.
Robin Campbell, thank you very much for your time.